We weren't quite sure in rehearsal we were going to get that together. But it worked out. It always works out. It always does. It always does. Despite what we think, we know it's going to work out. Thank you, all of you. Welcome to Harmony Spiritual Center. Those of you who are here in the room and those of you who are watching on Facebook Live or watching us later on our YouTube channel or on our website, Harmony FW. Thank you so much for being here. David's already done a good job of saying who we are. What we do is we just talk about what it is, what it takes to have the great life that we are promised. That is a promise. We are here to live a great life. We are here to live our purpose. And sometimes we get kind of bogged down, right, in the day-to-day and the emotional things that go on and illness and so many things that happen. But the truth is always there for us to see, that we are here to live a great life and to serve others through our gifts. And that's all we talk about here. How do we keep moving forward, living our purpose and our gifts? And last week we talked about miracles abound. We just need to look around, and I think that's what we talked about, right? All right, sounds good. We talked about, we'll just say it, we'll go with that. Because if it wasn't last week, it was some point, and it's still a true point. Miracles do abound, and all we have to do is just look around. Just look at this room. Look at the love that's filling this room. And every time, my experience with Harmony, from the moment I walked in here, before I became a minister, when I used to come and visit my friends, come up from Waco, go past the Unity Church that was in Waco, and come up here to be with you all, because the love was in the room, and I loved it so much. Thank you, Pat and Glenn, for what you carried on, what you did for such a long time, and a great job. So that's what we do here, and you can feel it. Love abounds. What I want to talk about today is up until now. And I know I have one of my congregants that tries to figure out what the titles mean. And I don't actually know what they mean until I get here. So good luck. But what I meant when I meant up until now is that sometimes what we believe is that we can change our experience by changing our mind, because our thoughts are causal. Our thoughts are causal, meaning what we think we bring into our lives, we manifest, right? And not just our random thoughts, but what we think again and again, we think over and over, what we consistently think is how we bring it into our lives. So if we don't care for what's in our lives, we can change our minds, change what we're thinking and believing, and have something different show up. That's the truth. That's how it works. I know it seems crazy, but that's exactly how it works. Sometimes we have an experience that we want to change, but we can't believe that we can get to the new experience. So let's just say that we feel like we want to have more money. Maybe we're retired and we're on this fixed income and we'd like to see a little more money come in. But we're thinking, where's that going to come from? How's that going to work? And the fact is that the universe is abundant. Okay? So it's hard to say, I have more money now, when you don't. But what you can say is, I don't have enough money up until now. Up until now. So up until now, I didn't have enough, but now I do. Up until now, things were this way. But what's coming, because we know we're changing our mind, what's coming is something greater. More abundance is coming. Up until now, it wasn't abundant, but coming is abundance. And we don't want to put it too far out in the future. So we say up until now, or whatever it is, until we can believe more. So I just want to share with you today about how we start to change our experience and believe something greater for ourselves. Because again, that's all this is about. I was on a Zoom call yesterday with a group of New Thought ministers, and talking about how things weren't the same. Just we don't have the congregation, whatever it is they were moaning about. And I just thought, I'm sorry, are we New Thought or not? What are you doing? What are you doing? Focusing on that. So we just talked about, what is it that we want? What is it we're going to focus on? We're not going to focus on what we don't want. We're going to focus on what we do want. So even as ministers, even as New Thought who've been around for a long time, you still have to keep reminding yourself how it works. And our thoughts are powerful. Our thoughts are powerful. So however we can get to change the thought up until now, have a new experience and all that. So I'm going to give you a couple examples of how up until now looks. And you don't have to say the words up until now, but it's essentially that thing. So I've shared with you many times that my husband and I, or my former husband and I, moved to Vietnam, and we were there for 11 years. Prior to going there, he'd been talking to me for 20 years about wanting to go to Vietnam. And what my thoughts was, why? Why would I ever want to go? It's a war-torn country. They don't like us, because we had a war with them, so they don't like us. No, the food's not going to be good. They're not going to have any clothes. You know what I mean? It's just on and on. But these were my thoughts. But what happened as I was having all these thoughts, I realized, because my husband is a Vietnam vet, and a lot of vets need to go back. For whatever reason, they just need to go back and heal whatever they left there, whatever that was, whatever their experience were. And I recognized that he needed to go. So I thought to myself, how can I get there? What can I say to myself that will allow me to go? And what I said was, well, you're not going to live. but that's what I thought. So that was a thought that I brought into my mind was, you don't have to go. It's a limited amount of time. You can go for a couple of weeks. You get your round trip ticket booked. You're on the way back in no time at all. So that's one thing that you can do. And then we started doing some, I asked him, I said, can you just do some research and tell me who's there? Because nobody's going to like us. And he said, no, there's a community of expats. So we could go. So he did some research for me to help me to change my mind. And so I got on the plane. And one of the things I asked him to do before I got on the plane, I said, listen, because he's very good, he was and still is, very good just picking up and going without having any plans. He has no hotel, no car, nothing. And I said, all right, listen, if I'm going to go, please just, at least when we get off the plane, have a hotel that we're going to go to. I don't want to get off the plane and I have a hotel. So he did that. He booked a hotel for me. And of course, when we got there, the name of the hotel and the information was at the desk at home. My point is, I had to begin to change my thinking. I had to stop saying, I don't want to go, and giving myself all of these negative thoughts about it, because I knew he needed to go. My impetus for changing my mind was because I loved him, and I saw that he needed to do it, and wanted me, thank God, wanted me to go with him. And so I changed my thinking about it, and I went, and we ended up being there, as you all know, for, it's 5 years in Vietnam, and then another 6 in Thailand. It was the best trip of my life. But what my thoughts were about it were so negative, I wasn't going to be able to go until I changed my thoughts about it. That's what we get to do. This is what I know for a fact. And when I come and I talk about the talks that I have or the podcasts that we have or whatever it is, one of the other things that the ministers were talking about was when we have new people that show up in New Thought, we have all of this New Thought jargon, that we talk about. We're doing a treatment, and we're doing, all the stuff that we say. And the best thing to do is to never talk to people, no matter what you're in. If you're a pilot or whatever it is, you can't. Doctors, I know I go to a doctor and say, in English, please, doc. What is you trying to tell me? Oh, well, you have a headache and you just need to take some meds. Okay, thank you. All the other stuff, I don't need to know that. So what we do in New Thought, when you're trying to talk to someone, you don't have to tell them that it's New Thought. What does it matter? Just because you know it's a New Thought principle, they don't need to know that. You can just tell them, listen, my experience has been that when I change my mind about something, other better ideas come in. But they won't come in if I keep holding the same thought. So if I want something different, I start thinking about the thing that I want, and then allow some new information to come in my mind. Where's the new thought? Where's the jargon in that? That's about sharing with other people our experiences of life. Because if we're having a great life because we are New Thought, because we know these things and we are consciously, intentionally using them, we don't have to speak the jargon to help someone else with the information that we know. Correct? Right? So I don't speak jargon to you. I don't even know the jargon, really, because it doesn't help me. It doesn't help me. It doesn't help you. So that's how we get to do it. And that's what I want to share with you whenever I'm up here, is to talk, and why I talk about stories. Because I think stories share the experience. And it's about the experience that helps you understand how does it work every single day when you're on the street, when you're at the office, when you're confronting someone who has said something that's a little bit shady. And you're thinking, that felt shady. Do I respond back with some shade, or do I respond back with love? Because what's the intention I set, right? We get to make choices like that all the time. So that's one experience of how you can change your mind. So another experience that where's Garrett this morning? Not feeling good? He's doing something? Yeah, okay, just give him my love. I want to tell a story on him. Since he's not here. So in my home, we live in this community. It's a wonderful senior community. And in my home, when we were putting it together, we all got to say what the colors we wanted on the floor and all this kind of things, things that we wanted that were different from the others. And so what I wanted was what I call purse hangers. And really it was just a board that I attached to the wall above a bookcase. And then we put hooks on it so that the ladies that come to my house, the guests or whatever, can just hang their purses up. Then they can see their purses. They're out in the open. They're not on the floor. They're not hanging on the back of a chair. They're not worrisome. They're just right there, okay? So unbeknownst to me, when I asked Garrett, I said, this is what I want, and can you put that up for me? This is what he said. Absolutely, sure, no problem. Here's what he was thinking. That's the stupidest thing I ever heard of. He shared with me later. He told me later. Why in the world would anybody want to do that? Fine, it's her place, whatever she wants to do. So he put it up. Then his experience with it, because here's what he thought. So some of you who have been in my house know that the bathroom, when you go into my bathroom, the toilet actually waves at you and says, hello, how are you? Right? Lifts up, right? It's warm. And so he thought that the big thing that people were going to love was the toilet. And a lot of people do. But the big thing that everybody loved was the purse hanger. Purse hanger. So in the next thing that he created, which was the tree house, many of you have been there for our Wednesday dinners, he put a big wall of hooks. He did it differently than mine, but it's beautiful. And it now has purse hangers on it. And all the ladies come in, where do I hang my purse? Oh my God, beautiful, beautiful. He loves it. He talks about it more than I do. Okay? He allowed the experience of it to change his mind. So sometimes you can change your thought, and sometimes you can have a different experience that validates something different, that works, okay? So many ways in which we can have a different thought. So many ways, if we allow it. And he was open to a new thought. He thought it was stupid, but he was open to seeing what happened and adjusted his thinking when he saw what happened. He adjusted his thinking. A lot of times we're just going to stay on the same track, even though we have information and stories that tell us it's not what we're thinking is not true. And still we hang on to, is that what you were telling me about earlier? Tim was telling me something about this earlier. Maybe this is what he was saying. Don't trip over that. Who knows? Did you see it? Okay, thank you. So, I don't even know where it's going with that. But the fact is, what I'm excited about is just that we get to change our minds based on what our experiences. What I was going to say was, sometimes we have an experience that shows us that what we're thinking isn't true, but we've been thinking that it's true for such a long time, we hang on to it. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong or right about what I'm talking about. I'm just sharing with you how to let life be easy. I had one of my first New Thought ministers was Marilyn Day Hall in El Cajon, California, and she did a talk. It stayed with me. It's my motto. Let it be easy, it being life. Let life be easy. It don't have to be hard. It's hard because we keep on hanging on to things that are no longer working, and we insist, well, it used to work this way, it's got to still work. No, it don't got to. No, because you, right? Because you change, you grow, you learn, you're in different relationships, different things happen. So the old way of doing something won't necessarily work. I used to drink coffee all the time. I don't even know when the last time I had coffee. Because that was just what we did. It was a memory from my grandfather. My grandfather was a farmer in Waco, actually in Golson, just outside of Waco. And he drank really strong, he had that big blue pot, that big speckled blue pot, right? Grounds in the bottom, he just boiled that thing all day. So you know how horrible this coffee was. So he would pour me just a little, like a big cup, that had about this much coffee and about this much of that sweet milk. Yes. But I loved it. There was a memory of me and my grandfather drinking coffee. So my adult coffee drinking has always been about this much coffee and about this much creamer. And I was drinking this one day, and I just thought, this one thought to myself, I finally changed my mind. I said, I don't think you really like coffee. Right? Because you're putting way too much creamer in here. In fact, you seem to be putting much more creamer than coffee. So why don't you try, stop drinking coffee for a minute and just go to tea, see how that works. I haven't been back. I just woke up to a new thought. I don't think you really like coffee because look at the evidence. You're not really drinking coffee. You're drinking creamer with coffee. Right? Not coffee with creamer. So, and that's not good for you. So I just stopped doing that. Just had a new thought. Right? Over all these years, finally had a new thought. And that's okay. Have it when you have it. Have it when you have it. We don't need to beat ourselves up. Right? Just have the thought when you have the thought. So that's all. That's all I want to tell you. Just, I had another great story, but I don't want to be here all day telling stories. I'll tell you the story later if you want to hear it. The point is that we can reframe our thoughts. We can reframe, change. Up until now, previously, we can ask this question here. I love this question. Why is this statement true? We tell ourselves things, and we never ask, why is this true? This was something I told myself, and I shared this with you guys forever. I wasn't until I was 40 that I changed this thought. But I always said, you're not a good singer. You can't sing. I never asked myself, why is this true? Ever. The only reason why I changed it was because I had so much evidence from other people and their experiences of me singing that I had to take a different look. I'm thinking, well, maybe I was wrong about that. But took me, I was singing since I was 9 years old in my grandfather's church. 40 is when I finally decided that maybe that's not true and started owning. Then I looked at it and said, maybe that's not true. Let me own something different. And just start saying, you are a great singer. Just start claiming that. That's a new thought and changing my mind about it, claiming something new. That's what we get to do. Change your mind, claim what you actually want, not what you don't want. Okay? Claim what you want. This is what we do. This is all it is, all the time. It's about what we think. It's about challenging what we think and then changing our mind about what we think if we want something different. That's it. That's all there is. That's all I want you to do. And sometimes, like Garrett did, just find some different evidence. Has it been done by others? I used to be afraid to fly on the plane for a long time. I even worked for the airlines. And I was going to be a flight attendant. And my husband said, what is wrong with you? You don't even like flying. How are you going to be a flight attendant? You're just going to be there in the laps of the passengers? Because what are you talking about? But I looked around, and there are people that get on the plane and fall asleep before it even takes off. That's how relaxed they are. I said, how do I get there? They might be on drugs or whatever, but that's okay. But I didn't take that into consideration. I could have taken drugs, but I didn't want to. I wanted to do it. I wanted to let my mind, talk me into it. Over time, here's what, I'll tell you what I know what I did. There was an actual thing that I did. I read something, I think it was cognitive behavioral therapy. I'm not really sure which part it was, but what I did was, it said, create something that makes it easier for you to get on the plane in your mind. And for me, it was a hero. And it was a hero that I had this imaginary hero that went with me wherever I went. And he looked kind of like a transformer, but like a samurai transformers. He had all the samurai gear. He was huge. And it was a he, sorry, it wasn't a girl. It was a he, sat in the car with me on the way to the airport, got on the plane in front of me. He was just going down the aisle like this. I wish you would. I wish you would. I'm not kidding. That's.
You sure it wasn't Mr. T?
No, because he was. Well, I don't know who he was because he had a mask on. Could have been Mr. T. He had that helmet on. But that's what went before me on the plane. And in my mind, I thought, well, nothing can harm you with this guy here. This is my hero. Nothing's going to harm me with this guy here. For whatever reason, that worked for me. Don't matter. Whatever works, doesn't matter. And now I haven't seen him for a while. I'm okay. I don't need it. But if I do, I know where he's at. I know where he's at. He's right here. Do what you need to do. Change your mind. Change your thoughts. Change your experience. If what you have right now isn't what you want, that's all. If it's what you want, then celebrate. Be happy and continue to do it. All good. All good. We are a New Thought Center. And we teach how to have our best life now by rethinking and renewing, re-examining our thoughts, and having a new one that is creative, because our thoughts are creative. That's what we do. So I get that. Sometimes it's hard, but if that's what we want, we have the power to do it because we are individualized expressions of the one. So the power is within us. It's within us. We can do it anytime we want. I want to leave you with this final quote. This is by a philosopher, William James. The greatest discovery of my generation is that a human being can alter his life by altering the attitudes of his mind. And so it is.